What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 141. And today we are going to break down the week that was in week number 13. But before we do that, let me introduce my co hosts for the evening. First, from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Fantastic. Just got done watching our Mets with a exhilarating win as they tried to give that one away, but a win's a win. So it's a good way to kick off the week. I'm ready to go.
And a good win on Bobby Bonilla Day, as we certainly paid him his money. We will be
Yes.
paying him until
Happy Benny.
2035.
Hey guys.
Happy
Love it.
Bobby Bonilla Day. Gotta love it. With us as well from right down that hallway, but most importantly, he is the commissioner of our league. He is Ben Nisman. Benny, how you feeling tonight, my friend?
Feeling a lot better now after an amazing Mets win. That was a hell of a ball game. I really just enjoyed the roller coaster ride, and it was a comeback win. So when you're down in the game and you need to come back somehow, and they figure out a way, even relinquishing the lead and making it all work in extra innings. It feels good being here talking to you guys versus what could have happened, which could have been catastrophic as they almost blew it in the bottom of the 10th inning. But yeah, happy Bobby Bonilla Day in 2035. That's how long we're going to have to pay this guy. That's pretty tragic. And Bobby Bonilla's agent is an absolute genius. This has been another crazy week, guys. The Bigs was loaded with a lot of action, and if you're Ben Nisman, the player, not the commissioner, you're not feeling great as every single freaking team that needed to gain ground on me did, and that's really frustrating. And if you're Ben Nisman, the commissioner, there's a whole load of drama coming at me as well. So it was a loaded weekend, man. So yeah, let's as always, Joe, please lead us off, my man.
Let's get going, boys. And before we get started in the week breakdown, let's talk about the big important news that went down this weekend. Julio Rodriguez is getting traded from Kostas' team along with Tariq Skubal over to Cody for Ketel Marte, Lamont Wade Jr., and Brenton Doyle. Now, there was a bit of issue and controversy, as they say, around this deal. Ben, why don't we talk about first why there was two different incarnations of this deal and why the first one was vetoed and ultimately the reason that we're going with the first one.
Good question. I woke up to a text saying that uh, from Cody saying that they were not done when they closed the deal, and they had more to do. And I'm an understanding commissioner, I'd like to think. So I said, all right, you know what? I'll veto this one, and I'll let you go again. But it managed to get worse on the second deal for me, Joe. And it also occurred to me that I recall a certain thing happening in 2021 where we all had to get together and have a meeting with at least 12 of us from the league. And certain things were discussed and decided. And the more I thought about it, and circumstantially, the trade got worse the second time around here in 2024. It also seemed like there wasn't the greatest of reasons why the first one needed to be vetoed in the first place. To me, I always felt that, pushing the buttons to propose a trade, there's always time to pull out of it. Propose a trade, there's always time to not push the button and accept it. To me, that's different than someone accidentally dropping the wrong player. I've gotten about 6 or 7 calls in the last 6 years from different managers. You're one of them, Joe. Several guys have reached out and said, "Hey, accidentally dropped the wrong guy. Let me know. I'll put that guy immediately back on the team." But that to me is different than posing. There was a lot going on, but then they wanted more. They could have done that separately, but at the end of the day, to me, and I'm not sure how everyone felt about this initial trade that eventually went through, but we do know that at least the second one created was awful amongst the league in general. I would say nearly half the league was disgusted by this trade. But at the end of the day, that's not the one that goes through. I'm just wondering how the league feels about this one. They couldn't think it's at least as bad. And fortunately, because of our past, it seemed like a logical way to please everybody and make it an understanding for everyone where it makes sense. And I don't think the league is heavily affected uh, when it comes to the balance of the actual league. Like, does this tip the scales? I don't think it does.
I tend to agree with you, Benji, and I tend to think that the first deal and the deal that ultimately went through is a pretty good deal for both sides. I think we're underselling Ketel Marte's season. I think we're overselling the name of Julio Rodriguez. Tariq Skubal's having a great year. And listen, if Brenton Doyle is better than Julio Rodriguez this year, I will certainly be surprised. But Kostas seems to believe that the combination of him and Lamont Wade are going to propel this offense forward. So we'll have to wait and see. You mentioned 2021, and I think this is where we're going to go ahead and share the screen and show you guys exactly what we're talking about and the precedent that was set back in 2021. There was a trade between Frank Bucco and it was Mike Haber initially. It said Alex Verdugo and Jake Diekman to Mike for Michael Soroka, Andrew McCutcheon, and Domingo Herman. Now, if I remember correctly, Frank backed out of that deal. He said he didn't necessarily like the parts he was getting, and he ran to a different manager, got a different deal altogether, put that one through, and suddenly we had an issue because now we've got two deals that have been agreed to and not really a solution coming. So we did all meet. I think it was at least 10 of us. It might have been upwards of 12, man. You're right. It was the most we had in a Zoom meeting at one time. It was this important a meeting. And it was found that, the initial deal that was agreed upon is the one that we went with. And the rule was stated, if you hit accept, if that deal is accepted, that's the deal you get unless there's a commissioner veto. And that's where we sit now. And that's how we sit with the deal that comes through this week. Ketel Marte, Lamont Wade, and Brenton Doyle for Julio Rodriguez and Tariq Skubal. So there you have it, fellas. Any questions, by all means, reach out to myself, reach out to Benji. We'll be happy to answer those. But at the end of the day, Jason, what do you think of this deal that has come through now, the 3-for-2?
Yeah. I definitely on paper, I do feel like if we're going by name stature, obviously Cody got the deal. Getting Julio Rodriguez and Tariq Skubal. I mean, look, I look at it this way. If you're going into the playoffs against Cody, would you rather face a Cody with Brenton Doyle and Lamont Wade or a Cody with Julio Rodriguez? I don't know. But when now he's got Jordan Alvarez, Julio Rodriguez, Pete Alonso. I mean, he's got an all-star team in that offense. And it's scary. I would not want to face him in the playoffs. I'm kind of glad that I'm done with him. I face him for 1 week and that's it. It's funny. I was at softball Sunday and I didn't even see the trade come through. I saw the messages coming through them on the message board. I had no idea. I didn't even look. I didn't even know what was going on. And then the only thing I see is that second trade. I didn't even see that there was an earlier iteration of it. And I'm going, how is Angel Zerpa in a trade? It like this guy is the bottom of the barrel in terms of like anything. So I am glad to see that one got nixed and that the original one is the one that went through. I look at it, Ben, you mentioned it, like if you had, they could have done that trade separately, but there's no way that we would have allowed Bryson Stott for Angel Zerpa. That would have been the trade, right? So it makes absolute sense for that one to get nixed.
Well said, Jason, because like Joe said, the deal when you push accept, that's the deal you get. And then Joe said, unless there's a commissioner veto, there are these circumstances where it's just like, wait a minute, like we're not trading Freddie Freeman for Javier Baez here. Like it's just
Right.
there's got to be exceptions. There's a line that
Yeah.
is crossed. I don't believe that this first deal here, that line is crossed. But Bryson Stott, who has more walks than strikeouts, who's I'm pretty sure on pace to having just over 100 strikeouts this year, who's on pace for 40 stolen bases, who will have Bryce Harper in the back in the lineup in about a week to protect him, as well as Schwarber eventually. We know that the Phillies offense is one of the three best offenses, if not the best offense in the entire sport. Uh, this is where I just felt, and the other thing is that one of the things that bothered me most about the trade, guys, that it's Lorenzen. And the fact that it is Lorenzen tells me that Kostas is still maturing in this game. And sometimes the thing is, like, when I made 6 maximum trades for this league, there was a reason I did it. And Frank knows that he's a reason why I did it, because sometimes you have to protect managers from themselves because you don't know what they're capable of in order to potentially unbalance the league. This is a situation where we've been close. We saw Romano get traded for Grayson Rodriguez, and there were risks taken on both sides and would never get vetoed. It was never to that point. But when we looked at it, we were like, a guy that's like easily the closer, right? For Grayson Rodriguez. Now, that guy goes down for the year. That's circumstantial. You know what I mean? We still don't know who's actually won that trade yet, because Romano is down as well. But look, you and Jason, you and Kostas made a trade. It seemed to make sort of sense on both sides. You got Lindor, he got Olsen. It was very early in the year, so there was so much to be seen whether who was going to win that deal. For this one, for Bryson Stott to get moved for a reliever that is a run of the mill. Now, I told Kostas, the guy that should be dropped in this deal, without a question, should be a reliever that came in today. If not came in 2 days in a row, in that case, that was this guy, Fernando Cruz, that's on this team, who doesn't even have a game tomorrow. When we're talking about Sunday, he doesn't even have a game on Monday. So what the hell does he need to be? If Lorenzen, you might start him this week, or someone else might get him. But there's no way that a reliever like that, will have the kind of impact on somebody else's team than a Lorenzen. Same thing goes for Bryson Stott. If he's the guy dropped, there is no way that he doesn't impact somebody else's team. And Fernando Cruz, whether he gets 3 appearances, whether he gets 4 appearances a week, gives a crap, because you can find someone else in free agency that can do exactly that. And Fernando Cruz, if you want him that much, you're dropping him on Sunday. If you want him back by the time he has another game on Tuesday, come on then. Pretty sure not everyone's going to be clamoring for Fernando Cruz. So it's things like this, guys, that makes me question, well, who was making that deal? Are they clear on the exact value of what things are in this game? And everyone knows that I nor anyone else has a crystal ball that can say what Bryson Stott is going to do versus Zerpa. We do know is that Bryson Stott plays every single day. And no matter what, unless he does get injured, he is playing every single day. And we all know that a hitter playing every single day is going to impact a team, whether it's a negative or a positive, on a team more than a starting pitcher, let alone a relief pitcher. These are my thoughts, guys. And it is something that I really needed to investigate clearer to know what we're dealing with here. But at the end of the day, this seemed like the most practical situation to finish with. And everything that the gentleman, who is a new guy here, came to do was within the rules. He did nothing wrong. Kostas came to him about the deal. Nothing this guy is doing is wrong, and all this guy has done for the first 13 weeks is just put his foot on the gas and keep going. And everything that he's been doing has amazed us. And we've been so impressed with this guy who is making moves by his time at 2 a.m. He's got a kid, a newborn, and he's loving this league. And he has been having a ball. And I want the league to know that it is important that this guy knows that he should feel comfortable with who he's talking to and making a deal. Because unless the plan is for the guy he's dealing with to automatically try to tank, he's doing nothing outside of the rules. He's a good guy. I love him in this league. I want him to continue to be in this league. And he deserves all the praise that he has gotten. And he has been just a special manager that if people are scared of him, tough luck. You know what I mean? Like, I'm scared to play against him too. But he has built this team on his own. And the fact that he's a rookie manager doing what he's doing is nothing short of incredible. I wish him the best of success in this league. And he knows that I want him here for the long haul. So I just want to let the league know. I hope you guys know that when you get into these kinds of discussions, you create a potential apprehension from someone to try to connect with you when there might be an opportunity for you to actually gain something from it, whether it's, a player or just like a nice conversation, maybe a new friend one day. But it did bother me a little bit how intense it got. The only thing is that I will say I wanted them to talk in the chat. I told everyone, yes, like it should be an open dialogue. It's not a democracy, but I need to know what your thoughts are, how extreme they are, or how whether it's just something you just want to throw your 2 cents in. I want the open dialogue to happen. So if there is something that got mistaken or taken the wrong way, that's on me. Like, that's on the commissioner, because I wanted the open dialogue. I wanted everybody to be able to drop their 2 cents in and let me, and I would be able to read it and know exactly how to handle it today. So I'm happy with how it ultimately had to happen, and hopefully it's for the best. But yeah, it was a crazy Sunday, guys, and this is when the commissioner's job gets tougher. But I think that I think we handled it the best we could.
I commend you as always, Commish, for handling this with grace and poise and with nothing but clear-headedness in a deliberate fashion.
There are not many commissioners who would have handled it the way you did.
No doubt. No doubt.
Thank you.
To dive into the deal itself, let's not take anything away from the fact that this is a buy low on Julio Rodriguez. The guy is hitting an anemic 069 and a 198 OPS over the last 7 games. He's hitting 247 for the year with less than 30 RBIs, 7 home runs, and 37 runs scored. He is not what the first round pay that Kostas gave up in order to get him. So this is a middling dude who's struggling this year. Brenton Doyle is arguably having a better year. Same number of home runs, similar number of RBIs, a lot more runs scored, better batting average, and more stolen bases. Like, just look at the numbers and take the names away.
Yeah.
That's the important thing to take away from all of this.
And that is so hard for people to do, Joe. And you're absolutely right. If you could just stare at what the numbers are, like what Ketel Marte is doing. I mean, if you're going to take the logic of, oh, this guy, come on, obviously he's going to break out in the second half. Can't you sort of take that same logic for Tarek Skubal and be like, this guy is going to be terrible in the second half? Like, he's on the Detroit Tigers. He's a nobody, So I realize it's a batter versus a pitcher, so maybe they can't necessarily be judged the same way. But I looked at this trade and I said, you know what? There's a lot of opportunity here for Kostas to really be able to work his team a lot differently now, because Lamont Wade plays three positions. Um, and Brenton Doyle, like this guy went 2 for 3 today with a bomb, a 2-run bomb, 2 runs, a double, a stolen base. So good on Costas right there because he had a game on Monday, did Brenton Doyle, and all he did was hit a double, a bomb, and stole a base and scored 2 runs. So yeah, I realize it's one game, and Julio Rodriguez, look out, he might do something pretty darn soon, but at least we look at that now. We're like, dude, the freaking guy is on Colorado. He's going to be playing half the games in Colorado. Lamont Wade for him. That was like me with Donaldson. Then I eventually had to trade my waiver pick to Jason. It was Barrios for Donaldson because once I dropped Donaldson, I had opposite buyer's remorse, basic seller's remorse, I guess, when I dropped him. And I was like, oh, I think I want Donaldson for the stretch run on the Yankees in 2022. That's what Costas was feeling. By the way, it also happened early in this season in 2022 when I dropped Carlos Santana, and Joe had to show like this graph that says that Carlos Santana is going to keep getting better. And he's like, you know what? It's still Carlos Santana, and Ben's going to trade for him. And I did. So
you did.
Look, and I did. So I know that feeling. Costas getting that, oh my God, I might have dropped this guy that could turn into a superstar this year. None of us feel this way, right? None of us feel this way. But he does. Like he has this belief in him. I don't know, man. I don't think this is as horrible as it could. It looks bad if in this second half Julio Rodriguez just breaks out. But Julio Rodriguez, just a center fielder eligible, same as Brenton Doyle. Then he adds 3 positions with Lamont Wade. And guys, I don't know. I didn't think this was that bad. Not to mention like Ketel Marte, we said the season he's having. He's gotten a lot of position eligibility all of a sudden from this deal.
Yeah, 5 separate positions are covered by this trade. Ketel Marte, 287 average, 17 bombs, 49 RBIs, 57 runs scored. He's on pace to have 90 RBIs and 100 runs scored and like 30 homers. Okay. That's a better season than what Julio can put up. Period.
Yeah. Period. Yeah. It's impossible now for him to basically do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Now that we've done a good 20 minutes on this trade, let's dive into the week that was in week number 13. And let's start with Cody and Jason breaking down their matchup as Cody gets himself a nice win here over Jason. Looks like 13-7 was the final score, 13-8?
13-7, yep.
13-7. My computer is not cooperating with me at the moment. Here we go. Vientos, the Fresh Maker, is the new team name. Very nice. On Sunday, triples were tied, and it looks like Cody got that one.
Yep.
And it looks like innings were Cody's, and you came back and got that, Jason, as well as tying up wins. Cody led that by 3. So you had a nice Sunday on the pitching side.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Jose Urena, that Sunday night game, I was sitting there watching it and watching the Rangers just trounce the Orioles, and I'm going, okay, 2 things are going to happen. Either Andrew Heaney's just going to finish this game, and I'm not going to get Urena, or they're going to bring in some scrub to, mop up the game, and he's not going to come in. I was hoping for him to come in and pitch 3 innings and maybe get a save. Comes in for 2 innings, which is fine because he got me the innings. But I was really worried that he wasn't going to come in at all. I was going to be so pissed, but it worked out.
You got your guy. You got your guy on Sunday night, and that was the important one.
Yeah.
For Sunday, it was 13. It was 15-5 coming in. It goes out 13-7. Great Sunday from you, Jason, to try to make some lemonade here. Close categories, Cody wins by 3 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, a save, and 3 strikeouts by a pitcher. Jason, you won by a steal, an inning and 2/3, a home run given up by a pitcher, and 4 walks by a pitcher. You guys tied in wins. Benji, for Cody on his bench this week, he goes 12 for 50.
Made it so easy for me, huh? Uh, damn. And the annoying thing is, I'd have to really think hard about it to try to 6 for 20. Let's say it's okay, two 235.
Ooh.
240. 240. The thing about having 50 at bats, you double it as 100, you double the 12, it's 24, 240 batting average.
24. Yeah, very good.
That's
With
too
4
smart.
runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, 16 strikeouts, and an error. The steal is the only thing that matters. Although he did have a couple of relief appearances on the bench here that could have won him some innings.
Yeah, so on Sunday he benched everybody except for his 2 starters. And that's what threw me too, is so he had he only had originally he only had Kevin Gausman going, and then he snuck in an ad for Luis Medina for a later game in the afternoon. Gausman was terrible, but Medina was good and gave him 6 innings. So that's why I was like, because I was throwing I threw like four starters on Sunday, and I was like, do I start him? Do I not start him? Once he picked up Medina, I knew I had to throw everybody. But he benched. There was like 4 relief appearances that he benched on Sunday, and that would have kept innings in his pocket.
All right, let's talk about his moves this week. It looks like he used all 10. He started off dropping Jonathan Cannon for Kevin Kelly, not the AEW announcer, though, Ben. An inning, 2 strikeouts, and 18-3 in a relief appearance. He drops Austin Voth for Ryan O'Hearn on a waiver claim, 1 for 4 with a solo bomb. Drops Miles Michaelis for Chris Stratton. Drops Willie Abreu for John Brebbia, an inning and a walk in a relief appearance. He drops Kevin Kelly for Tommy Canley, who never comes in. He drops Keegan Thompson for Brian Wu, who's on the IL, and Jared Koenig, who gives him a 3 strikeout relief appearance and then goes on the IL. He drops Heliot Ramos for Lamont Wade, who was benched. He drops Jared Koenig for Jacob Young, 1 for 4 with a strikeout, and drops Sean Armstrong for the aforementioned Luis Medina. 6 innings, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 150 and a 117 in Arizona. The MVP this week is no longer on the team. It was, in fact, Ketel Marte, wherever he is. Second base.
Yeah, I see it. So 429 with the 5. Oh, it disappeared on me. Okay, I'll get it. 429
with a
average.
538, 7 runs, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts, and an error. Ketel Marte, ladies and gentlemen.
We are getting there today, boys. We are getting there with the technical difficulties. Brenton Doyle is the least valuable hitter. He didn't have a hit, and he was benched for his only good day. Ironic that both of these guys and the free agent pickup of Lamont Wade are the pieces that go. Yep. Interesting. Yep. The Cy Young this week is going to be Aaron Nola. 13 2/3, a win, a loss, a bomb, 15 strikeouts, a 263 and an 088. And the Cy Young goes to a combination of Austin Voth and Sean Armstrong. They both had ERAs that were sky high, 40, 50, and 72, respectively. And they both took losses. Go figure. The Sunday triple comes from Isak Paredes, who was originally benched, Jason? Is that right?
So I was watching it. He had him on the bench like all morning until the Twins lineup came out, and he saw that Carlos Correa was not in the lineup, so he was able to make that switch before game time to move Henderson over to short and Paredes into third, and he got the triple. Yeah.
God, this team is loaded. Absolutely loaded. It's an outfield of Julio, Corbin, and Yordan Alvarez, an infield of Pete Alonso, Isak Paredes, Gunnar Henderson, and Carlos Correa. This thing is a monster.
And by the way, he picked up Xander Bogaerts, who is on his way back. So that's going to be a thing too.
Yeah, this team is a monster. Look out for him in the second half. This is going to be crazy. Jason, for your team this week, Benji, he goes a solid 6 for 11.
Oh, that's really great. 460. Wait, say it again.
6 for 11.
Oh, wow. That wasn't even, I'm glad I fixed that. Okay. It's 6:32. I don't know.
5:45.
Okay.
3 runs, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, and 3 strikeouts. Jason, what happened here, man?
2 days. It was 2 days.
Vientos
Yeah, it
against
was
Garrett
Vientos.
Cole.
Yeah, against Garrett Cole. Like it seemed like the right move, right? So of course, and he homers twice off of Garrett Cole. Like I love seeing it. It was fantastic as a Mets fan, but I was so pissed that it was on my bench.
Dude, let me tell you, I was actually maybe as pissed as you because I'm looking at it and I'm like, and I was like, all right, you know what? It happened on Tuesday, and I'm like, all right, it's Tuesday. It probably won't end up being the difference. It ends up being the difference,
Yeah,
guys, because when you lose by 2 bombs and you lose by 3 RBIs, and Vientos collected all of that, yeah, it makes sense to bench him against Garrett Cole, but when that ends up happening, it is kind of frustrating, especially because when you look at the score being 13-7, you know that one play changes the score drastically and helps the league a lot.
No
yeah.
doubt. No
And
doubt.
then
And then
and
a
then the
4
next
for 4 day from Brandon
from
Marsh
Brandon
on
Marsh
the
the
very
very
next
next
day.
day. Yeah, Marsh had been terrible. I don't remember who I started over him.
Uh,
I
But
have Richie Palacios over 4 in the utility spot.
yeah, because he been doing he been hot. He been hitting well. So like, and Marsh hadn't been doing anything. I was getting close to dropping Marsh, but I'm like, no, let me hang on to him. He's gonna figure it out. But let me bench him. Yeah, 4 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Cool.
So I'm
Yeah.
saying more of that Phillies offense, like no matter who it is, right?
Yeah.
They got Real Muto coming back. They got Harper coming back, Schwarber. It's Castellanos, like not to mention like Johan Rojas, the pesky player. Like no matter what, that Phillies offense is deep. If I had one of those offensive players, I'm I'm playing him every day. Like I don't have a spot for Marsh because I'm committed to my outfield, but
Yeah.
otherwise, like this guy would be a must. Whit Merrifield gets more playing time now. Like it's another guy, you know. I know he's having a horrible year, but it's just anyone in that lineup when it's that lethal and that deep, you want in on that action that can hit a jackpot at any point. And the Phillies score 12 runs.
Yeah.
You got one of those guys.
And that's the bench is those 2 days.
That's the whole thing.
Well,
That's
it's
the
rough.
whole thing. That's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
For your moves this week, you used 9 of them. Sir Anthony Dominguez gets picked up for Justin Martinez, a clean relief appearance. Giovanni Gallegos gets picked up for Emmanuel Valdez, a clean relief appearance. Patrick Bailey gets dropped for Cutter Crawford, who started the suspended game, and I don't know when they're making that up, but that's
In
going to be a
August.
fun day. Great. Nate Pearson gets dropped for Jesus Sanchez over 4 with 3 strikeouts. Jesus Sanchez gets dropped for Richie Palacios over 4 with an RBI and a strikeout. Richie Palacios gets dropped for Luis Matos, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a strikeout. Taylor Saucedo gets dropped for Casey Mize, 5 1/3, a win, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, nothing earned in LA against the Angels, but he left with cramping.
Yeah.
Poor
Yeah.
guy.
I picked him up knowing that start against the Angels was coming up, and I was really looking forward to it. He got what I needed. I got the win out of it and the innings, but I was hoping for a little bit more.
Well, you got the 2 more innings out of Jose Urania that you picked up on Saturday for Jock Peterson, and then finished off the week dropping Richie Palacios for Bryan Bello. Bryan Bello, you like this kid, huh?
Against the Marlins this week? Sure.
All right. Sounds good. The MVP this week is a guy you traded for. His name is Francisco Lindor, 333 with a 360 on base percentage, 4 runs, 4 doubles, and RBI, 2 steals, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter is Royce Lewis and just about everybody else, apparently.
Yeah.
An 048 with an 091, a run, a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, 5 strikeouts, and an error. The Cy Young goes to Taj Bradley, 11 innings, a win, a homer, 6 walks, 19 strikeouts, an 082, and a 1 whip. The Cy Young goes to Logan Allen, 7 1/3, a loss, 3 bombs, a walk, 8 strikeouts is nice, but 11.05 and a 2.18, not
That's over 2
good.
starts. That's over
That's
2
over
starts.
2. Oh, Well, never mind then.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither one of these were good.
I tried him. I gave him 3 starts, and one of them was okay, but yeah, he's not been good.
Yeah, Taj Bradley with 19 strikeouts, Garrett Crochet with 17 strikeouts. This is a good rotation here, Jason.
Yeah, and that's where Sunday was huge, and I'll show it real quick because I was actually quite proud of it. Sunday was 26 in the third innings, 3 wins, a loss, a homer, 7 walks, 32 strikeouts at 239 and 106. So I was and actually I didn't even realize that Dominguez. I think this is Dominguez was the win that tied up the category. I think that came in late. So Sunday worked out to make this as good as can be, because the whole week I was feeling like, Cody just had his hand around my throat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a point where it was like 16-3 or 15-5, something like that, that really could have just put the end to your season already. And this is where we sit now. You're 34 games under 500, got a lot of work to do and not a whole lot of time left. How you feeling?
I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna keep playing, and we'll see how it goes. My expectations are really low for this team. The funny thing is I like for the most part, where the roster is right now. Like like you said, I think the pitching is to really come alive. The hitting is starting to click a little bit. Mike Trout may be coming back like in a few weeks, so that could be something. So like it just feels like it's going to be possible, a little, too little, too late kind of thing.
Gotcha. Benji, are you feeling the same way here?
Yeah, unfortunately, I thought that this could be one that Jason actually steals and gets his gets his footing, but I didn't. It's so close to the point where it's like you basically not only need a win out, like you can't lose any matchups. You need to clobber teams. You need help. It's not looking pretty, but a scary spoiler to have to deal with. I don't have to. Fortunately, we've already had our matchup, but it was going to be a tough matchup, and it's more about what Cody is doing on the offensive side. 8-5 in runs against opponents, 7-4 in doubles, 9-2 in triples, 7-5 in home runs, 9-4 in RBIs. And by the way, he's second place in the league in RBIs, 398, only behind Mike Haber with 440. He's 5-7 against opponents in steals. He's 9-2 in walks. He's 7-5 in strikeouts for a batter. He's 4-5 in errors. 7-6 in average. He's 8-5 in on base percentage. So right there, guys, he's well over 500 in most of these categories. Then in the pitching side, 11-2 in innings, 10-2 in wins. 11-2 in innings, 10-2 in 10-2 in wins, 3-8 in losses, 3-8 in saves, 3-9 home runs given up, 7-6 in walks given up, 10-2 in strikeouts. Oh, and by the way, he is second in our league in strikeouts with 947, only behind, funny enough, his trade partner, 956 for Kostas. Then for the ERA, 4-9 against opponents, whip is 7-6, and 3-10 for relief appearances. The pitching is a mixed bag, but you guys talked about it. This offense is dominating against opponents and driving in a lot of runs.
And
No doubt.
and the thing is, like, I went into this week thinking, okay, I know that he said he was punting saves. He traded Duvall and Tanner Scott. He said he was punting saves, and up until last Sunday, I knew I had Edwin Diaz at the very least. And I think, okay, maybe this is a week where I can actually win saves for once. Diaz gets suspended because he can't wash his hands, and Trent Thornton finds a save out of the Mariners bullpen.
Wow.
And that's the only save of the matchup.
It's the only one. Oh.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. That really sucks. Cody's in good shape. I texted with him earlier this earlier today and yesterday as well. Let me just pull that up, and then we'll jump to the next matchup. But the one thing I did want to drive home with him was that, don't sweat what happened here in the chat box this weekend. Don't sweat that, because there are a lot of guys whose tensions run incredibly high the closer to the playoffs we get. This team is really, really strong, and he should be very proud of the team he put together.
Agreed.
Let's dive into the next matchup, and ironically, it is Cody's trade partner Kostas taking a 14-7 loss to your boy, who gets a nice double-up victory here this week. On Sunday, it was 14-6 going in. Walks, I had a 1-walk advantage, and Kostas took that. Errors were tied, and I blew that out of the water. And ERA, Kostas was up by over a run, but he had some really bad pitching on Sunday for whatever reason. I benched all of my pitchers because I just wanted to take home what I already had. So he threw everybody and pitched terribly and gave up ERA to me. So again, 14-6 coming in, 14-7 coming out.
He threw a 9-16 on Sunday.
Yeah, that's hideous. That's hideous.
With 3 losses.
Yeah. Yep. Close categories, I won by a triple, 2 strikeouts, 2 saves, 10 ticks on the ERA, and 2 relief appearances. Kostas wins by 2 walks, 3 errors, and a win, and 6 ticks on the whip. We did not tie in anything. Benji, for me on my bench this week, I went 1 for 4.
Oh, thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
It's league average.
Very nice. Very nice. With a run, a walk, and a strikeout, none of it plays. For my moves this week, I did use all 10. Started off the week adding Matt Vierling 0 for 4 for Colton Cowser. Dropped Seth Martinez for Yuki Matsui, who gave me a clean relief appearance. Dropped Vierling for Andy Paez, who goes 0 for 4. Dropped Yuki Matsui for Keegan Aiken, who apparently doesn't play in Baltimore anymore because he never came into the fucking game. Dropped Derek Law for Nick Martinez, 2-inning relief appearance. Dropped Rob Refsnyder for Matt Vierling, 1 for 4 with a strikeout. Dropped Brent Suter and Luis Campusano for Alex Faedo. Faedo came in on Sunday, but I didn't need him, and I threw him back to the Wolves when he came into the game. So don't need him. Dropped Nick Martinez for Sean Jelly, 2 innings, a loss, a walk, a strikeout, a 27 and a 350. That was a wild game with the Dodgers that started with a Glasnow start, and it was a bullpen game for the San Francisco Giants. I grabbed this kid thinking, okay, let's try to get him into the game. There were so many opportunities for me to catch the win in that game because Evan Phillips was on line for the win. Sean Jelly was in line for the win. Neither one of them get it, and Jelly gives up like 6 runs in the bottom of this 11th, I think.
Nice.
Terrible. Dropped Keegan Aiken for Derek Law, who gave me a clean relief appearance. And finally on Sunday, dropped Alex Faedo for Jake Myers, who I used today. He went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Gotta love that play. That was a great play.
Because he's done playing the Mets. That's why. How many hits will against the Mets?
My MVP this week is apparently the guy that Jason doesn't want for Edwin Diaz. It's George Springer, 476 with a 542 on base percentage, 4 runs, 2 doubles, 3 bombs, 10 RBIs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts this week. The least valuable hitter is Matt Vierling, 124 with a 176 on base, an RBI, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Cy Young goes to Gavin Stone's complete game shutout, 9 innings, a win, 7 strikeouts, nothing earned, an 0.44 whip. The Cy Yuck goes to John Gray, 5 innings, a loss, 2 bombs, a walk, a strikeout, a 14-40, and a 2. Gross.
Ew.
Gross.
He's been bad lately.
Yeah, he's had 2 of his last 3 starts were bad. But before that, he had an ERA sub 2.5. His ERA now sits almost 4. So I'm willing to give him a little bit more rope, but he is the 6th starter in my 6-man rotation.
Yeah.
For Kostas on his bench this week, Ben, he goes 5 for 27.
Okay. 182.
185. 5 runs, 2 doubles, a homer, 2 RBIs, a steal, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Only 3 moves this week to speak of. He dropped Corey Lee for Jake McCarthy, 1 for 4 with a run. Dropped Brian Hayes for MJ Melendez, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And dropped Brendan Little for Luis Torrens, who did not see the baseball game. His MVP this week, he mentioned this guy in the talks that we were having in the chat. He mentioned Luis Rengifo and how much better than Bryson Stott he's been. Rengifo is the most valuable player this week. 407 with a 429, 8 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, a steal, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts and an error. For the season, Luis Rengifo is just doing really nice things. 317 batting average, 36 runs, 21 steals, 6 bombs, 24 RBIs. Like, he's just a good player. And if they had a better lineup around him, I'm sure he would have a name that people would recognize. But
I had this. I had him, and he got sick. And that was it.
That was it. The least valuable hitter this week is Matt Olson. I'm sure that's going to make you happy. 192 with a 276 on base, 2 runs, an RBI, 3 walks, 12 strikeouts. Not a good week for Matt Olson. Not a good week at all.
He's got 12 home runs on the season. I looked it up. I think by the end of June last year, he had 28.
Wow. The Cy Young this week goes to Brandon Pfaadt, 12 and a third, 3 bombs, 4 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 365 and a 114. He didn't pitch all that well, but he did get innings and wins. So one of those guys has to sort of carry the load here. The Cy Young goes to James Paxton, 9 innings, a loss, a bomb, 5 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 9 ERA, and a 222. That's across 2 starts.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good at all. Benji, what'd you see here, my friend, and how concerned are you to see me climbing the standings yet again?
1,000% concerned, Joe. We always have these conversations where you're concerned about your season, you hate this team, probably not going to the playoffs, and I say, shut up, just let the season play out, and I guarantee you, in a couple of weeks, you are going to be at least 20 over 500. Look at this. You're almost 20 over 500. And honestly, what I saw here was that Kostas used only 3 ads and he only lost by 2 relief appearances. I feel like if there's a little bit more aggressive play through the week, get an SP eligible reliever, just put Joe on his toes a little bit so that he has to delegate his ads in a different direction, this might be a completely different ball game. So that's what I noticed, aside from the fact that he seems to be a little too committed to relievers that are good. I mean, Strong, it's a guy that hadn't given up a run yet. So I can see the value in that. But even Strong, he could go to the waiver wire, Jason. Like, you wouldn't get killed by doing that if you decided to let him go. It's just that he has had a nice season and he hasn't been an SP eligible reliever. So I can understand why he has a little bit more value. But yeah, the churning out of relief appearances was something that Costas could have benefited from him. And there was no aggressive play. And when you don't have that against Joe Schubert knows how to delegate his ads. And he'll have at least one to save to play for next week, which you did. So it just seemed like this was a schooling for me. It didn't seem like it was going to be close from the beginning. And you got out of the gate hot with a lot of home runs again, 11 freaking bombs, 36 RBIs. These are going to be tough numbers to compete with, but Kostas was 6 homers, 19 RBIs. It's, not pretty. A 233 batting average. Both of you guys pitched like dog duty, but just a messy play from him. I mean, there was a chance, Joe, that you could have gotten whipped if you just played your pitchers on Sunday and just went to war with him. I understand that you wanted to play it safe, but he could have played it smarter on Sunday, and so could you have. Like, this score should have been a lot different.
It could have been a lot different. I'll take the double up. I'll take a +7 every chance I get. I'll be honest with you. And I didn't even think I was going to get that. I thought I was just going to walk away with the win here, make it 13-6, 13-7, 13-8 I would have been fine with. But he decided to throw all those guys, and they shit the bed for him. Cost him ERA at the end of the day. I'm happy to be sitting in fourth place. I've picked up a spot every single week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I just jump one more spot up the rankings. Now I'm in a nice cushy little playoff spot. I hope to hold this down, but there's still 9 weeks to go, and I've got a bunch of really hungry guys that are going to be on my schedule, starting with my commissioner this week.
Now, looking forward to this matchup, Joe. We'll see how it goes, but you're a really freaking hot manager. 5 in a row, and all the wins have been like double ups or close to a double up. You're just thumping fantasy managers left and right, and I just hope I'm catching you at the right time with Harper down, Schwarber down. You only get Garrett Cole for 1 start. You only get Framber Valdez for 1 start. I mean, for all the complaining that I do of, oh, of course I'm going to play this guy when Mike Trout comes back, or oh, I'm going to play this guy when he has Garrett Cole for 2 starts. In this case, I have nothing to complain about. I have no reason to not win this matchup against you, besides the fact that you're scorching right now.
We shall see, Benjamin. We shall see.
One thing before we move off, just one last nugget. Since we're still talking about Kostas, Brenton Doyle homered again.
The second one?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. 2 homers, a double, a stolen base. That is an incredible Monday, and a nice way to stick it to the guys who were a little concerned about this trade.
Yep. No doubt, no doubt.
100%.
This looks better already because a 2-homer game. Then all of a sudden he has trade value. Like, oh, I'll take Doyle. Like, oh, you can't drop Doyle now. No. Doyle belongs to Costas because he was smart enough to get him. No one else wanted him. So if you look at it that way, and all of a sudden, just watch this guy Doyle all of a sudden go on a tear right now. That would be pretty damn awesome.
That would be.
Yep.
Let's dive into our next matchup. This is the flip of the year, honestly, that happened between Josh Haber and Jay Ferraro. It finishes 10-9 in Josh's favor. But when I tell you this was the flip of the year, it was 14-6 in Jay's favor going into Sunday. And almost everything fell in Josh's favor. Doubles were tied. Josh blew that out of the water. Jay Ferraro had a 2 home run advantage. Josh tied that. Jay had a 2 steal advantage, and Josh tied that. And Jay had a 21 tick batting average advantage, and Josh took that. And just for good measure, Jay also had a 2 relief appearance advantage, and Josh took that by 5. What an insane Sunday for Josh. Close categories this week, he wins by 3 doubles, a triple, an error, 4 ticks on the batting average, 3 wins, a save, and 2 home runs given up by a pitcher. Jay wins by 4 strikeouts and 3 innings pitched. They tied in home runs by a batter and stolen bases. For Josh on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 5 for 13.
382.
Oh,
Oh my God! I thought he was about to nail it. 385. 4 runs, 3 doubles, 5 RBIs, and a walk. None of that plays. For his moves this week, 2, 3, 6, 7 of them. Dropped Keibert Ruiz for Tyler Stevenson, 1 for 4 with a run. He dropped Spencer Schwellenbach for Pedro Avila, 2 1/3, a win, 3 walks, nothing earned in a relief appearance. He dropped Pedro Avila for Porter Hodge, an inning and 2/3, 2 strikeouts and a relief appearance. He drops Will Brennan for Drew Thorpe, 6 innings, a win, a homer, a walk, 4 strikeouts, a 3, and an 050 whip against Colorado at home in Guaranteed Rate Park. He drops Porter Hodge for Joe Mantiply for a clean relief appearance. Drops Tyler Stevenson for Kyle Higashioka, 1 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs. He drops Drew Thorpe for Adrian Hauser, 2 innings and a clean relief appearance. His MVP this week goes to Matt Chapman 391 with a 444 on base, 6 runs, 2 doubles, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, a steal, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Wow, way to come alive, Matt Chapman.
Yeah.
Alex Verdugo is the least valuable hitter, 150 with a 227, a run, a double, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. The Cy Young goes to Matt Waldron. Really?
Yeah.
6 innings, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, a 3, and a 117.
And he was terrible on Sunday, and he benched him, so that made it even better.
Yeah, and it's like
Good job,
one of
Josh.
those non-traditional knuckleballers
Yes.
that can throw with a lot of steam as well. So it's pretty cool. I mean, this guy might be like one of those, you know, a Tim Wakefield one day, but obviously like a different style. But who knows? Because he's super young right now. I mean, if he's already having this kind of success, and I feel like he's had a pretty decent season, they're handing the ball to him every 5th day. So this is a guy that I'm actually intrigued by going forward.
Yeah, I mean, if he could be like R.A. Dickey and really get that knuckleball dancing up there at 80 miles an hour, it could really do something. It would really prove successful.
Yeah.
And San Diego may have struck gold.
And they're missing Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove, so there's a spot for this guy.
Yeah, he's going to get some run. Get some run. The Cy Young this week goes to Ryan Thompson, 2 1/3, a loss, a bomb, a walk, a strikeout, an 11.57, and a 1.71 across 2 relief appearances. To be honest, Josh pitched pretty damn well at 275 and an 0.97. That's to be commended here. So the bad relief appearance is all that we have to write home about.
But a 2.75 ERA wasn't good enough to win that category.
It sure wasn't. Let's get into Jay's team. Jay on his bench, Benjamin goes 5 for 36.
Jeez, 1 for 7 or more. 168.
It's a 192 with 4 runs, a homer, an RBI, a steal, a walk, and 8 strikeouts. The homer, the steal, and the 8 strikeouts all would have played here. Good job keeping the strikeouts out of your lineup. But the homer and the steal, Horner is a victim here on Sunday. He's benched for Anthony Volpe 0 for 5, and Nico Horner hit the home run. So there's where that plays. He used all 10 ads this week. He starts off by dropping Nolan Shanuel for Jared Koenig. Gave him a clean relief appearance. Cade Povich, 5 2/3, a loss, a homer, a walk, 5 strikeouts, a 4.76, and a 1.41 at home against Cleveland. And he adds Jackson Chourio 1 for 4 with a run. He drops Cade Povich for AJ Puck, a clean relief appearance. Dropped Jared Koenig for Gavin Williams, who is still on the IL, but will be coming back rather soon. Is he not, Jason?
Yes. He's added Gavin Williams 4 times since mid-April.
And he hasn't thrown a pitch in the majors yet.
Correct.
Because he did drop him again to pick up Pierce Johnson for a clean relief appearance. He drops Brian Wu for Daysbel Hernandez. I have no idea what team he plays for, but he gave him a clean relief appearance. Dropped Pierce Johnson for Landon Knack, 4 2/3, a homer, 7 strikeouts, a 193 and a 107 in San Francisco. Drops Daysbel Hernandez, gets Gavin Williams back again for his IL. Drops JJ Bleday for Porter Hodge for a relief appearance to finish out the week. The MVP goes to Jose Ramirez, who had a lights out week, 345 with 345 on base, 7 runs, 3 doubles, 4 homers, 9 RBIs, a steal, and 7 strikeouts. With a shout out to quite a few other guys here, Miranda, Kim, and Chourio, who all had really strong weeks this week.
Yeah.
The least valuable hitter is no longer on the team, and interestingly enough, it's Anthony Volpe, 138 with a 138, 4 runs, and 12 strikeouts. He's going through the doldrums, and Jay doesn't have time for that anymore.
No, sir.
The Cy Young is the other member of that trade. It's Justin Steele, 7 1/3, 2 homers, a walk, 9 strikeouts, a 245 and an 0.95. The Cy Young goes to Cade Povich, who had his 4.76 ERA. That's really all we can write home about here. Again, Jay threw a 218 across 62 innings. Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah. I hope I'm not stealing Ben's thunder here, but his ERA for the season is at a 3.18. Like,
Wow. That's really good. Benji, what'd you see here, my friend?
I saw probably the greatest comeback I think I've ever seen in my life in the
mhm.
bigs. This is unheard of. What a Josh Haber. I mean, who the hell thought that Jason Ferraro, like a two-time back-to-back champion, comes back after missing 3 years and jumps in 29, 21 and he gets to the playoffs. He takes another few years off. He comes back here. He's having another over 500 season. What's amazing to me right now is that Jay Ferraro hasn't won a matchup since week 5, and he won 10-9 against Ari. He has not won in eight in his last 8 weeks, 8 matchups. He has not
Two
won.
months.
Yeah,
Wow.
he has not gotten a win. He's been able to make these like little 9, 10-9,
Yeah.
9-8, 12-9, 10. Like they're not big losses, because it's Jay and he knows how to mitigate it and at least keep it close. So if he's going to have that crushing Sunday, and that's what this is for Jay right now. This is a crushing Sunday to be up by that much. Even very, very late, you and I were looking at it, Joe. It's like, did Jay win this one? Oh, yeah, he's got a 10-8 lead. And then more crap happened on the Sunday night game to change it. I mean, this was tough, and I know it's probably frustrating for Jay that he hasn't won in this like it's been this long. And even that matchup was against Ari that he won, and he didn't win it like he crushed it. He won it 10-9. And then before that, he tied me 10-10. So it was since week 3, where he beat Henry 14-6. And those first 3 weeks go like this: 12-8, 16-5, and 14-6. Those are 3 monstrous wins. And then it's just been 500 basically since, technically under, but the dude is still right there in a hunt for a playoff spot. And let's face it, all he needs to do is just stomp on a couple opponents, and he's going to be in third place. I'm very terrified about this team, and I'm terrified for this team, guys, because Jay has really changed it up here a lot. For the first 13 weeks, we've seen so many different types of offenses. Obviously, the pitching has stayed the same. It's Imanaga, it's Ranger Suarez, it's a nasty bullpen, it's a nasty rotation. And like you said, Jason, the ERA is incredible right now. Like Anthony Volpe now gone. Like he got so sick of him. And I realized part of it is the reason why he dropped Anthony Rizzo, I would think. It's just like, I'm sick of looking at Yankees and watching them in that light. And if I have to get punched in the face once by seeing my guy do badly, I'd rather not get hit in the gut the second time. So he was over it with Volpe. And I don't know, man. Like it feels like with a whole second half and he's batting right next to Judge and Soto, it was certainly one that I was surprised by. This was one guy that I thought, even though he was a Yankee, he's staying on Jay's team for the remainder because we got a lot of season to go, and Jay is still an over 500 team. Is it possible that this losing streak or this winless streak, it's put himself psychologically in a direction where things have to change. I need to go with something else. Or is he going to kind of play it by the seat of his pants and keep on changing out the offensive pieces, going with different guys? You look at this offense right now, I'm not scared of it. That doesn't mean it can't kick my ass. And obviously, like I said in the beginning, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what these guys are going to do, but not really a bunch of household names on this team aside from Rushman and Ramirez. It works around that as the core the infrastructure. But aside from that, it's been a revolving door the entire season. Guys, what do you make of this offense? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it more just like Jay is going to just keep on making it a revolving door and that's the way Jay needs to succeed? Or is that some way that he could shoot himself in the foot? It's really hard to tell right now.
Jason, what do you think of this offense?
Yeah, it has the makings of something that could work. Because like obviously Jose Ramirez and Adley Rutschman are a thing. But like when you're getting contributions from Nico Horner, Jackson Churio, Seiya Suzuki, like that's gonna lead to things. I don't know about not playing with a bench, so we'll see if he, fixes that going forward. The thing that I noticed from him throughout this winless streak is cycling through these IL guys. He added and dropped Yoshida probably 4 or 5 times. He's added and dropped Gavin Williams a number of times. He had Max Scherzer, he dropped him. He still has Jacob deGrom, and he picked up Kodai Senga. Both of those guys could be back, right after the All-Star break. But I feel like he was doing that a lot over these last 4, 5, 6 weeks. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he doesn't hang on to Bryan Wu, who strained his hamstring. Doesn't look like he's going to be out for too incredibly long, but we shall see. Benji, what'd you have?
I had the fact that he has gone with extra guys stuffing roster spots quite a long time. I give him a lot of credit because that could lead to bigger losses. It has hurt him. It has been affecting him the fact that those are guys that have just kind of been stuffing his roster and he hasn't been able to work. And I feel like other managers have been able to take advantage of it. But at least now I look at his team, two guys filling those IL spots only. It's Kodai Senga, it's Jacob deGrom. All these other guys have either been dropped or they're now healthy on his team. So a guy like Gavin Williams is an example of that. He was a guy that he was just keeping him plugged on his roster and he couldn't even do anything because he was on the IL. But at least now he's healthy. So I think that could benefit him in the long run. And then it just comes down to his schedule. He's in a great spot right now because got Frank off a winning streak. Like I would want Frank while he's hot because if Jay is this cold, I think law of averages, this is where Jay finally gets this win. Unfortunately for the league, he's coming and there's 9 weeks left, but I think this is the one that Jay gets healthy.
We will see. I certainly hope for Jay's sake he gets his lineup straightened out. He gets his guys back, and he is a force to be reckoned with here in August and September.
I wanted to throw in a little bit of Josh Haber though, because we're not talking enough about how this guy was able to pull this off on Sunday. I mean, this really is one of the more incredible things that you can say. I mean, it's just I don't know if it's even been it's been done before. Just the fact that it's these two guys specifically that Josh has been able to maintain this kind of a streak as long as he has. Guys, he has lost once since week 5. He lost in week 11 to Cody. That's it.
Yeah.
So
his Sunday, I'm gonna read out his Sunday real quick. 303 with a 385, 8 runs, 5 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, 2 steals, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, and then 9 innings, a win, 2 saves, 8 strikeouts, a 1 and an 067, and 8 relief appearances. That was his Sunday.
He had 5 doubles and 8 relief appearances on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Jesus.
8 out of 10. There's only 10 pitching spots. And he got 8 relief appearances. And then on the other end, Jay goes 5 for 32, 4 runs, 2 doubles only. He needed more of them. 3 RBIs, no steals, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, a 156 average, a 229 on base percentage. So you see how everything flipped. I mean, Jay only had 1 relief appearance on Sunday. He only got 1, which is unusual for Jay. You'd think like on a Sunday that they're loaded, but he used the 10 ads, and this was it. And one thing I did actually notice that I was seeing that Jay he definitely didn't have a ton of ads left going into the weekend. So I think he had to be pretty crafty with how he used them. But I mean, Josh right now is a monster. I cannot believe he was able to pull this off. And the fact that he's only lost 1 matchup since week 5. Week 5, he beat his brother 11-8. And then he's just been cruising. And it's it feels like a team that's no matter what going to the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, he is bound for the playoffs as Josh Haber. He is certainly the question of whether or not he's going to rack up a bye is the question. And I would be thrilled to see him as one of our 2 buys this year, guarantee himself a shot in the semifinals. Listen, I'll go this far. I would love to see Josh Haber win a championship this year. That would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right, let's move to the final matchup of this episode, gentlemen. Let's talk about Ari Nisman and Bryan Lebo. Bryan took down a 12-9 victory on Sunday. He had it 12-8. Ari gets one back for 12-9. RBIs were tied, and Bryan took that. And walks by a pitcher. Bryan had a 2-walk advantage and gave up a bunch of walks, and Ari took that category. Close categories this week. Lebo wins by 2 steals, 2 walks, 3 saves, and 15 relief appearances. Good job. Good job. Ari wins by 3 walks by a batter, 2 errors, 3 losses, and 3 walks by a pitcher. They tied in nothing. For Bryan on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 6 for 19.
Um, 326.
Close. It was the 316. 3 runs, a double, a homer, 4 RBIs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, none of it plays. His moves this week, he used 9 of them. Started with Heston Kjerstad for Manuel Margot, 2 for 4 with a double. He dropped Pedro Paez for Bo Naylor, 1 for 4 with a double, an RBI, and a strikeout. Drops Eniel De Los Santos for Tom Cosgrove, who was horrible in his relief appearance. Drops Hunter Stratton finally for Ryan Fernandez, who got a clean relief appearance. Drops Tom Cosgrove for Nick Gordon, 1 for 5, a run, a double, a strikeout, and an error. He drops Sam Roberts, I have no idea what that is, for a Harrison Bader, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Drops Nick Gordon for Chas McCormick, 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. He then drops Bader, Tim Meza, Freddie Fermin, and Chas McCormick on Saturday for Cesar Salazar, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. And then drops Salazar for Jake Rogers, 1 for 4 with a run and a strikeout. His MVP this week, Ellie De La Cruz. Welcome back to the show, my friend. 333 with a 375 on base. 6 runs, 3 doubles, 2 triples, a homer, 5 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, and an error. The guy on the season has 40 stolen bases already.
But like this is him, right? Like this. Look, I mean, you had 8 strikeouts and an error, but 2 triples. Like this is Elliot De La Cruz in a nutshell. And like there have been weeks where he's been the least valuable hitter. You know, he's a hand grenade sometimes.
Yeah. Shout out to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who scored 10 runs and hit 417 this week as well. Really nice find there on the waiver wire. The least valuable hitter this week goes to Josh Bell. 083 with a 154 on base, a double, an RBI, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. The Cy Young goes to Lance Lynn. No way. In this year?
Yeah.
12 2/3, 2 wins, a homer, a walk, 11 strikeouts, an 0.71 ERA, and 0.55 whip. The Cy Young goes to Tristan McKenzie. 2 1/3, a loss, 2 bombs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, a 19.29 stock market crash ERA, and a 3.43, and a trip to the minors.
Yeah, who would have thought? Like he looked like an ace, you know, a couple years ago, and just has not gotten it going this year.
No, he has not. He hasn't gotten it going in a minute because he missed, I think, all of last year with an arm thing, and
yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's been a minute since we've seen successful Tristan McKenzie.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, we're going to finish this week with Ari's bench. It is 24 for 73.
Great. Wow. I'll go with 283.
329. 13 runs scored. That would have won the category. 6 doubles would have tied the category. A triple, 3 homers, 13 RBIs that would have won the category. 3 walks and 8 strikeouts. Only 2 moves to speak of. He drops Miguel Andujar for Colton Cowser, 2 for 4 with 2 runs, a double, a homer, and an RBI. He drops Tyro Estrada for Brandon Lau, 1 for 3 with a run, a homer, an RBI, a walk, and a strikeout. His MVP this week is Rafi Devers, 421 with a 450 on base, 6 runs, a double, 4 homers, 6 RBIs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts with an error. The least valuable hitter goes to Cedene Rafaela. Did not record a hit, an 071 on base, a run, 2 strikeouts, and an error. The Cy Young goes to Jake Irvin. Okay. Don't know where that guy is. Here he is. 6 innings, a win, a homer, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 150, and an 067. The Cy Young goes to Sonny Gray. 4 1/3, a loss, a walk, 6 strikeouts, a 623, and a 185. Ari pitched really well this week.
Yeah,
really well.
And he had a bunch of home runs also.
Yep.
Yeah.
12 bombs, 23 walks is really nice. He had a competitive week. Just it isn't going to win with this strategy. It's just not going to happen.
Not anymore.
No. Good to see Lebo get himself off the schneid and get a win here. I know he's going to play this thing right to the very end. He's going to push for a consolation bracket spot. I know that much.
Yeah, that's for sure. I look, 31 under 500 it's not pretty, and it's going to take a lot of work just to get to the 500 mark, but he's a pest, and he finally didn't use 10 ads. This might be the first week where he actually didn't use all 10. So very aggressive. You can't take him for granted. I'm certainly glad I got my 12-6 and got the hell out of there with that guy, because he's going to heat up at a certain point, and he is going to be dangerous. And he took advantage of a guy that isn't playing the right strategy. It's a strategy that could work in 2022, but it's just not going to work with this many good managers. And I find it funny that he made his first ad probably in the month of June. It's Colton Cowser, and he gets 2 home runs out of him. And I found that pretty funny. It's like, oh, okay, like he made an ad. He made an ad for another hitter. Great. So he still has how many hitters on his bench? Oh, I guess 4 now, because he's got some guys on the IL, so they're stuffing spots, but it makes it a little better. It actually makes me feel a little better that he's just like, okay, I guess I don't really need to make any changes, even though guys are on the IL, because I have this many freaking hitters. So it'll help him a little bit. He won't leave as much crap on the bench, but more likely than not, every single damn week, he is going to leave stats on the bench that would have played and made the difference. Yeah. So incredibly frustrated watching it, but good on Bryan here to take advantage of that and get a win, a well-deserved win. Even though Ari's going to pitch the crap out of the ball and he's going to hit 12 home runs, Bryan was just like, okay, fine, you get those stats, I'll go after the other ones. He did a beautiful job here.
He did a great job. He did exactly what you're supposed to do against Ari.
Yeah, and that's the thing with playing with this short pitching staff is you're relying on 8 or 10 guys. So either it's going to be really, really good, or it's going to be really, really bad, because there's not a whole lot of middle ground there with just a handful of guys throwing 6 innings a week.
And I don't even know half the dudes in his rotation.
Yeah, me neither. And that's the thing. When you say they could either all be great and then you luck into some low ERAs and whips, but if they're not good and they all have like maybe 1 start a week, you're not only dealing with the bad numbers, now you're trying to catch the minimum. And I've seen Ari come very, very close a couple of weeks. So in general, this whole closers and starting pitchers, relievers are not important. Here's the thing. I said in the beginning of this show how interchangeable relievers are. They are, but you still need to be filling up your bullpen. You can't live with this, because you need innings from somewhere. You need consistent innings, a 1, 2, 3 here and there, and you need to fill out the roster doing it. The way Ari is doing this with just living on a prayer with the starting pitching, it's just not going to it's not going to work twofold, because these are all of a sudden offensive players that are going to end up on your bench getting stats, and you're not going to be getting quality innings from relievers. So it'll kill them twice.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about our managers of the week and get out of here. Benji, let's start with you. Who do you have at number 3, sir? Number 3 manager of the week.
Yeah. Listen, I got to go with Cody Piatt, man. Like, I feel like he was really, really playing a strong game all week against Jason, and had Jason have to continue to stare at Cody's team to see what he's doing, to see these constant changes being made. It's frustrating because not only is it such a deep offense, it's a professor behind the keys.
All right, so Cody for number 3 for Benji. Jason, how do you have number 3?
Man, this is tough because I want to give Cody. I had to give Cody credit because he kicked the shit out of me. But I really have 4 guys for 3 spots, and I don't know how to get everybody in here. I'm gonna give my number 3. We didn't talk about him. We'll talk about him on the next show. But Bobby Russo, just destroyed Mike Sherman, and it was Sunday that like made it happen. It looked like because it was really close going into Sunday, and then ended up being a 14-5 win. So I didn't look into it to see what actually transpired on Sunday, but just looking at that, I have to give credit to Bobby. So I'll give him number 3.
All right, my number 3 is going to be Frank Bucco here, getting an 11-7 win over Adam Lowenstein. This was a dogfight, and we are going to cover it next show. But this was a dogfight all week, and Frank walks away with yet another win under his belt, keeping that winning streak going. Good on you, Frank. Benji, who's your number 2 manager of the week?
Yeah, I've got to echo that. I'm going with Frank for number 2 here. Right? He had to deal with a lethal offense all week. And yeah, we're going to get into a lot deeper, but my God, I mean, the fact that Adam Lowenstein batted 288 and had a 351 on base percentage, he beat Frank in ERA and still lost the matchup by 4. Frank had to really wiggle into some stats. He got really, really clutch at the end. Runs ended up being tied late. It was a really awesome matchup and a really awesome comeback. So I got to credit Frank right there.
No
And
doubt. Frank,
as
good
far
on
as
you.
sorry, as far as why I can't listen, Jason, I hear you. Like, it was a great turnaround for Bobby on Sunday, and Bobby didn't see it coming. I saw it coming. And when I saw that Severino was being benched on Sunday for Sherman, it made me think that, again, he wasn't really looking at what he might have been looking at the score, but he wasn't looking at his opponent and what could happen. And all of a sudden, innings pitch gets lost by that much. It seemed like poor management for like the third weekend in a row from Sherman, specifically on Sunday. So unfortunately for Bobby, I omit him this week because I just thought he was just had to play against the guy that just like he overmanaged. He looks at it once, makes the decision, and it's done. There really isn't anything. There's no glue to it. And Sherman, how many moves did he make this week? 1, 2,
Probably not any. Probably
or
not any.
none.
Yeah. Jason, who do you have at number 2 this week, my friend?
Again, one that will be talked about in the next show. Henry Collins. I mean, again, I don't know what happened here in this matchup, Mr. Nisman, but anybody who can take you down 14-5 like that has to be mentioned in the top 3. So I'm giving it to Henry Collins.
Yeah, I'm going to echo those sentiments and just remind Henry that you can never tell what's going to happen until the matchup is over. Let the baseball play. Benjamin, who's your number 1 this week? And why is it Josh Haber?
I'm absolutely going to chew out Henry on the next show and some of his comments going into the matchup as if it was over before it started. And yeah, I'm not putting in Henry here. I think a lot of it, and we'll get into how horrendously I played. I didn't win one pitching category, and it was mainly just silly decision after silly decision by me. I'm sorry, Henry. It was a beautiful win. It was an important win, but I think it was me more playing myself into a hole than him just playing all the right decisions, playing all the right moves. But my number 1 is 1,000% Josh Haber. I mean, how could it not be when you come back that much against Josh? You get 8 relief appearances on a Sunday. You hit like that. You figure out which guys you got to play to get those stats. Not easy to do, especially when you're playing Jay and you got to get it right or you lose the matchup. I mean, that's amazing. Like that's when this league is at its best because like you had this guy that it was looking like, okay, he's in second place the whole season, right? So he could take a loss here. He could take a big loss, but he didn't stop grinding it out. And even when it was 10-8 very, very late on Sunday, he still didn't stop grinding it out. And it was just like, I've never seen anything like that before, man. That was incredible all around. And the fact that you get 8 relief appearances, you end up with 9 innings and a 1 ERA and a .67 whip on Sunday. Forget about it. Not only did he get all those relief appearances in, they were all basically immaculate. Amazing, amazing work all around. And just an incredible comeback. I don't think we'll ever see anything like this, but I know we'll be talking about it a really long time.
Oh, no doubt. Jason, are you echoing this one?
Absolutely, 100%.
Josh Haber, congratulations. You are the manager of the week unanimously this week, sir. Once again, congratulations on a great comeback win. 303 average and a 385 on base percentage on a Sunday. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Eight runs, 5 doubles, 6 RBIs, 2 steals. You just crushed it, man. You just crushed it on a Sunday and took Jay down a peg. Guys, that's going to do it for episode 141. Thank you so much for being here, Jason.
Absolutely. Dude, I can't. 13 weeks down, dude. That's like if you look just yesterday, we were like draft day.
Yeah.
But this is it's just another wild season of the Bigs, and I'm loving every single minute of it.
Absolutely. This is going to be a wild finish, Ben. Somebody's getting their heart broken, though.
Yeah, no question. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be a tough race. And unfortunately, somebody is going to be well over 500 and not going into September playing. So it'll be fun to see the race. But yeah, it's going to be a tough ending for somebody, at least one guy. But it was a special week. And it's funny because we're halfway through the baseball season. And it's weird how, even though baseball is twice as many games as a basketball season or a hockey season, it still feels like it goes much faster than the regular season of a basketball or hockey season. Like, this has flown by and it has been really, really special. And I hope the league knows that I love everybody in this league. And even though we get some craziness sometimes with the trades, don't worry, like, leave it to me. That's why you put your trust in me to handle it. So I think the league did a great job working together and talking through everything. And I'm glad we were able to come out with a strong solution. I'm really, really excited about these last 9 weeks. And I know that we're just going to have more special, magical moments.
Benji, it has been a pleasure doing this show with you for the last 5 years and doing this for as long as we have playing fantasy baseball. Thank each and every one of you guys for playing along with us and making this league what it is. We would have nothing without you. So once again, we appreciate you. Until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the Bigs. We'll see you next time.